I want to do something a little different. I want to talk about one tiny piece of good news.
You now have until July 15th to file your taxes.
Don't need to panic because you have an extra 3 months.
This is a big relief.
Normally, I would be filing my extension for my taxes, but not this year.
See? 2020 was all worth it, guys. Also, he definitely claimed his veneers as a deductible. Guys, we got so much extra time. And real talk, I still haven't started. I never start my homework until the night before it's due, especially when it's assigned by Steve Mnuchin. Mr. Mnuchin is mean, and I hope he does not have a great summer. Look, a lot of us procrastinate on taxes because, let's be honest, we hate them.
It is a task so dreaded. People said they would get an IRS tattoo if they could avoid taxes for life.
I definitely would get a big tattoo across my whole back that said taxes if it meant I didn't have to pay another dime. I'm not even joking.
Me too.
That's amazing. Fox let a woman say me too. It's not just paying taxes. Filing taxes is also terrible. Every year, Americans spend about 2 billion hours doing taxes, which is 12 and a half hours per taxpayer. That is the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy spent doing something almost as boring as watching the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy. But all that anxiety, all that work, that is not by accident. And that's what I want to focus on tonight. Why doing taxes is so hard. Because it doesn't have to be this complicated. No one needs that extra stress, especially right now. Luckily, there is one group trying to make taxes easier. You know who I'm talking about.
If you're falling by yourself, let me see it. Clap it up. Clap it up. Clap it up. If you need a little help, go ahead and hit us up. Hit us up. Hit us up. We can help you get it through it. Get it found. Nothing to it. All people are tax people.
I love how they show one Indian couple, 2 goths, and a dog, and they're like, yup, that's all people. Diversity's beautiful. That's an ad for TurboTax, an online tax prep company. Last year, almost 40% of taxpayers filed online. You probably filed online, except you, Haley Burns. You're like, I live in Brooklyn. I use paper. This year, because of the pandemic, even more people are expected to file online. And TurboTax is by far the most popular tax prep software. The company that owns it, Intuit, was worth $77 billion before the pandemic. People love TurboTax so much, they will rap about it. I'm serious. In 2007, TurboTax held a rap contest asking people, are you a better rapper than Vanilla Ice? So basically, everyone was a winner.
TurboTax is the bomb, and it's as easy as taking your mom to prom.
You pay CPAs and you're way in the past. Keep track of your stack using TurboTax.
TurboTax, oh TurboTax, for all the girls and boys.
My friend knew I was stressed out, not having any fun, so he turned me on to TurboTax, said they were #1.
That man is so embarrassing for white people. His dog literally became a Black Panther. I get why TurboTax is popular. They basically turn taxes into a BuzzFeed quiz. You answer a bunch of questions, 2 minutes later they tell you what you owe and which member of the British royal family you are. Last year sucked. I did get a refund, but I was hemophilia. That's a deep cut for people who know about the problems with inbreeding. It's very bad. But you know what people love most about TurboTax? The price.
Free, 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 free.
That's right. TurboTax free is free. Free, 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 free.
Free.
That ad uses the word free 26 times. But here's the thing. For a lot of customers, TurboTax Free Edition is not free. They may tell you it's free, you may think it's free, but TurboTax uses all kinds of deceptive tactics to make sure that you pay. And the worst may be a web design tactic called dark patterns. Here, I'll show you. Say you're a recent college grad making 30 grand a year. Congrats. And you Google TurboTax free. The first result says 100% free tax filing. 0 Fed, 0 state, TurboTax free. That's 2 frees, 2 zeros, which isn't the word free, but it might as well be. It's like saying whence instead of when. We all know what that means. You're an asshole. You click on it. Now you're on the TurboTax website. It says free guaranteed, huge letters. That's already 5 frees, so you click the button that says file for $0. Now, right away, there are a ton of options. Luckily, there are helpful buttons to guide you through. The very first button says, I want to maximize deductions. Great, who doesn't? But if you click it, you immediately get recommended TurboTax Deluxe, which costs $60. If you click I donated to charity, it also recommends Deluxe. If you click I am self-employed, I respect the hustle, it recommends this option, which is $120. It turns out almost every one of these options pushes you to a paid version. 9 out of 12 options cost you money. This is all real, by the way. If you go to TurboTax right now, these are the steps you'll see. We did it. We clicked file for $0. We made an account. sassanminhaj@aol.com. Username, Timothy Chalamet. We answered a ton of questions. We said we're a college grad who makes 30 grand a year. We answered one question about our student loans, and boom, we hit a paywall. After all that, we had to pay to upgrade or start over. It says free edition, quote, doesn't cover student loan interest. So we're like, fine, fuck it. Take my $60. Then a pop-up hit me, gave me the middle finger, and told me to eat shit. Even though TurboTax said it was free 7 times, we ended up paying. And this really hurts people who need the money.
Jessica Carlson is a single mom. She says when she put her information at TurboTax.com, she ended up on its more expensive version despite her low income.
It automatically put me in deluxe, and I thought, I did not make that kind of money.
Instead of free, she got billed $90 for TurboTax. That's almost a third of her tax refund.
A third? TurboTax, who do you think you are? Ticketmaster? Intuit says it didn't do anything wrong, but right now, a lot of people don't got 60 extra bucks to blow on software that should be free. And it's not just Jessica getting charged. You hit paywalls if you claim credits for paying off student loans, paying tuition, paying for childcare, or filing for unemployment, which more than 40 million people are doing right now. TurboTax, you can't steal from the unemployed just because they're unemployed. That's what the lottery is for. At one point, TurboTax even used a military discount to trick the troops into paying. It made them so much money that on an earnings call, Intuit's then CEO, Brad Smith, bragged, we saw double-digit growth from the military. Now, we gotta talk about Brad Smith, who looks like if the Grinch went to law school. He made TurboTax the monster that it is today. And this is him giving a speech at their headquarters in India. And for some reason, he's teaching them this.
Up on the toe, flat. Up on the toe, flat. Yes, India!
This makes me ashamed to be Indian. We have some of the best dancers in the world, you guys. Shah Rukh, Hrithik, Ranveer, and they are losing their minds for a Christmas party moonwalk? Dude, this is why the British won. Brad Smith stepped down as CEO last year, but he was in charge for 11 years. And a lot of TurboTax's shady tactics started while he was there. And we haven't even gotten to their shittiest tactic yet.
The class action lawsuit was just filed, claiming TurboTax intentionally made its free program hard to find.
We allege that they have steered these low-income taxpayers into paying for services they should have gotten for free.
TurboTax denies any wrongdoing, but this whole time, they had a completely separate service that wasn't filled with paywalls, where people could actually file for free. And they did everything they could to hide it. Okay, I know this is confusing, so let me break this down. At one point, the government was talking about creating its own online tax software. But Intuit and other tax prep companies knew that if that happened, it would kill their business. So in 2002, they pitched a deal to the IRS. They're like, hey, don't make free software for poor people. We'll take care of it. And the IRS agreed. For Intuit, that new software is called Free File. So TurboTax has 2 completely different programs. There's Free File, which is free, and TurboTax Free Edition, which in most cases is not free. And if you're getting them confused right now, that is the point. It's like candy bars at the dollar store. Like Three Muskets, Twix, Snackers. They all sound familiar, but they all taste wrong. TurboTax is trying to trick you into using their pay website and not their free website. Listen to the ProPublica reporter who first broke this story.
We found that TurboTax put code on the Free File website that made it so Google and other search engines would never show that website.
TurboTax made the free version, then made sure it didn't show up as an option. Dude, taxes should not have a secret menu. It's a 1099, not a Wendy's meat cube. This is an abomination. It looks like a beef wedding cake. ProPublica also discovered that last year, even if you went to TurboTax.com, you couldn't find Free File. Instead, you had to go to TaxFreedom.com, which was straight up another website. Dude, imagine if WebMD was only accessible through Pornhub.com. People would be so confused. They'd be like, big black hernia. Is this a category? All right, here we go. Time to grow. The point is, hiding works. Millions of taxpayers got confused and went to the wrong site. Just listen to this woman with TurboTax customer service.
I feel like I would have qualified for the free edition, though. Because
you may have. You may have.
No, I would have.
Totally possible.
The problem is I didn't know there was two different products and that I would have used the free one had I known it existed.
Even though I know that you say that you would have used it if you'd been aware of it.
Of course I would have. Who pays for things when they can get it for free?
Exactly. It's like paying money for an Ed Sheeran song. We all know you can hear it for free in a Gap dressing room. By the way, TurboTax denied her refund. All of these shady tactics have made TurboTax bank. Last year, of all the people who filed online but could have used Free File, only 6.8% actually did. If you paid to file online and you made less than $69,000 a year, you could have filed for free. And the industry made about $1 billion off of you. Now you might be wondering, Hassan, how are they getting away with this? The IRS should check them. Well, there's just one problem.
Frankly, nobody likes the IRS.
I hate the IRS.
Everybody hates the IRS.
Who doesn't hate the IRS? I mean,
The IRS sucks.
The IRS has no friends.
I swear, Wolf Blitzer was about to come on like, CNN breaking news, the IRS fucked my wife. Obviously, Americans hate the IRS, but hating the IRS actually makes the tax prep industry stronger. And that's what's been happening for the last 20 years. It all goes back to a political stunt in 1997. Republicans held hearings to investigate the IRS because they knew it would win them political points. They got IRS employees to testify against the IRS. So they had to keep their identities hidden in a very strange way.
Now my pleasure to call on witness number 4.
Mr. Chairman, Senators, thank you for allowing me to appear before you today and share with you some personal observations.
Wait, what is happening? It sounds like a Confederate squirrel is testifying. Mr. Chairman, I saw unspeakable things at Gettysburg. Those IRS witnesses told crazy stories about how corrupt the IRS was. They said IRS agents bullied taxpayers, spied on them, and covered up abuses. And guess what? It all turned out to be bullshit. The IRS was cleared of any wrongdoing, but that didn't stop people from calling them Nazis.
Lynch mob approach.
Police state tactics. Gestapo-like tactics.
Gestapo.
I don't know what's more anti-Semitic here, minimizing the Holocaust or implying that millions of Jews died from being audited. These hearings were part of a huge turning point for our tax system. The very next year, Congress passed a massive IRS reform bill that gutted the agency and kickstarted decades of budget cuts. Since 2010, the IRS's enforcement budget has been cut 27%, and its enforcement staff went down 37%. And I know, some of you guys are probably like, dude, I thought the IRS was this big badass agency. But it's not.
The IRS is a walking dead bureaucracy. It's been eviscerated.
The Republicans have had a consistent assault against the Internal Revenue Service.
They beat them up, they deappropriated them, they stripped down their ability to actually do their job.
Damn, son, the IRS is going through it. I'm worried it's gonna get depressed, get a tattoo, and start reading Rupi Kaur. The IRS doesn't have the money or manpower to go toe-to-toe with the tax prep industry. It can barely even do its job. Audits on the top 1% have dropped almost 70% in 6 years. One study found that in the next decade, the super rich will avoid $5 trillion in taxes. $5 trillion, that is Japan's GDP. Think of all the things we could afford with that money. Universal childcare, free public college, corona tests for everybody. Or we could just rent Japan for a year. We would fucking trash that place. Not like last time, just dirty dishes and stuff. So if you're the IRS, you need money and highly trained agents to investigate the filthy rich. But it's way easier to audit the poor.
You are more likely to be audited in the United States if you make $20,000 a year than if you make $500,000 a year.
It's true. These are the poorest counties in the United States. And these are the counties that get audited the most. There is so much overlap. It looks like a map of perverts and men with soul patches. They're roughly the same. The IRS disproportionately audits poor people over rich people, even though rich people evade way more taxes, because that's all it can afford to do. Now, that's how bad the IRS was at its job before the coronavirus. Then 2020 happened, and the IRS was put in charge of distributing 150 million stimulus checks, which went great.
Glitches galore with the stimulus checks.
Glitches in the system are sending millions of those checks to the wrong bank account.
Checks are even getting sent to people who are no longer living.
Her Aunt Rose, who died last summer, got a stimulus payment.
That's kind of the family joke, like, wow, you didn't get yours, but, a deceased relative did receive hers.
So Black Lives Matter once they're done. The IRS was totally unequipped to handle the chaos. So guess who stepped up? TurboTax. This spring, they went to the IRS. They're like, hey, remember us? Seems like you could use a website that helps people get their stimulus checks. We'll make one for you. And the IRS agreed again. So TurboTax made this website for the IRS, but then it also made this website for itself, which did the exact same thing. Do you know how hard you have to try to make a website look that fucking ugly? There is no Squarespace template called Soviet Union DMV. TurboTax's site used the same old dark patterns. It didn't mention Free File anywhere. And when you hit the button to do your taxes, even though it said free, you ran smack into their paywall maze and you got this pop-up. Dude, you know what? When we finally get this vaccine, it's gonna somehow only be available through TurboTax. That's how fucked up these people are. None of this has to be this way. Other countries have figured taxes out.
In Japan, you get a postcard from the IRS that says, we think you made this much, we withheld this much, we owe you a refund of that much, we'll put it in your bank on April 1st. Takes 1 minute if you think the numbers are right. We could do that here. The IRS could fill in every line of the return for most American families.
Taxes on a postcard. That is incredible, but terrifying. Imagine throwing away your tax return because it was stuck between two Pinkberry coupons. The government could do almost all of our taxes for free. It's an idea called return-free filing. The government sends us a filled out form, we check it, we sign it, and send it back. That's it. That's just one way we can make taxes easier, which is something we've been talking about in America for a very long time.
We envision a system where more than half of us would not even have to fill out a return. We call it the return-free system.
We'll make it easier, quicker, and less expensive for you to file returns.
Most Americans will be able to file taxes on a single sheet of paper. I didn't know I was going to be given a prop. Can I have it back? It's my only copy. No, I just... Don't lose it. It's yours. It's yours.
That postcard got 300 grand in hush money. Also, that was in public. Imagine what he does with the returns he keeps hidden. Even though our country is divided on guns, healthcare, education, germs, this is the one thing we agree on. Taxes should be easier. But somehow, none of those proposals have passed. Now, part of that is gridlock and incompetence, but another part is this.
Virtually every attempt to simplify taxes in recent years has been beaten back in part by the tax preparation industry.
Return-free filing is opposed by Intuit, who is a very powerful lobbyist. They've also done some sort of grassroots effort and have worked to get other people opposed to return-free tax filing.
I definitely believe Intuit is lobbying. I do not believe they have a grassroots movement. I've never gone to Trader Joe's and seen a guy like, yo, my man, do you have a moment to talk about tax software? Now, we could draw you a diagram of every time the industry fought return-free filing, but guess what? Intuit already did. Look at this leaked internal document. By the way, if you want to freak out a graphic designer, either show them this document or tell them dad is cutting them off. Even though this has janky PowerPoint vibes, it is straight up evil. Basically what it's saying is that every time the government proposed a return-free system, the tax prep industry did something to block it. Over 10 years, the government tried 8 different times to make taxes easier, and Intuit bragged that all proposals were stopped. That is not something you say in a PowerPoint. That is something you say over a payphone and then immediately hang up. Intuit and the other big tax companies know exactly what they're doing. They say they want to make filing taxes easier, but they don't. They lobby the IRS from making their own free file. They charge people for something that should be free even during a pandemic. And they screw over poor people, all while convincing you they're the solution to a problem they're perpetuating. So I'm just gonna say it. TurboTax sucks ass. Now, if only there was a company that didn't lie to you, that just gave you the free file options for free. Luckily, someone started that company.
All people are tax people. If you're filing by yourself, let me see it. Clap it up. Clap it up.
TurboTax is not your friend. TurboTax sucks ass. Hi, I'm Sasan Minhaj, CEO of TurboTaxSucksass.com, a tax prep website that won't try to fuck you over.
But how does it work?
Simple. We jack the free file options that the big tax prep companies try to hide and put them all on one website that doesn't suck ass.
I saved $120. Now I can hire that contract killer to murder my ex. Lemon bar?
No. TurboTax sucks ass won't trick you into paying for something that should be free.
Said pay or start over. I don't want to pay you, and I'm not going to start over. You cannot bully me.
It's a dark pattern. Look out! At our website, you'll also find our Tax Avoidance Hall of Fame, where we honor companies that don't pay any income tax. I'm talking about big evil corporations. Amazon and Chevron and Halliburton. Big evil companies like... Did I already say Halliburton? Don't pay. Don't stress. Visit TurboTaxSucksass.com because TurboTax sucks ass.
Don't play with me.
This is our last episode of the cycle, and before we go, I just want to take a quick second to talk about how insane everything feels right now. The pandemic, the economy, police brutality, my wife and I, we had our second baby during Corona. It's just been exhausting. And I think we all feel that way. Do you guys do that thing that I do in the morning? I wake up and I reach over to my phone instead of looking over at my wife. And I'm just like, let me find out what's wrong in the world. Let me see what's broken. I just take an espresso shot of anxiety right to the dome. I hate that feeling. And all the articles are like, hey, we are living through history. But you know what? Living through history blows. Reading history is awesome because you know how everything ends. The Civil War, World War II, the financial crisis. You know who the good guys are and who the bad guys are. And right now, I just don't know where the fuck we are in the story. One thing we know for sure, the time we're living in, it will be in some Houghton Mifflin textbook. I don't know how the story's gonna end. I just wanna know what character I'm gonna be in the social studies book. Because I know for sure those motherfuckers are gonna misspell my name. Good or bad, history is shaped by people who take action. A lot of these shows are shaped by bad news. But I actually wanna take a moment to focus on the good things that happened during this time because people took action. In New York, we successfully bent the curve. We mobilized the world against police brutality. We got Judi Dench on TikTok. For me, that's how I want to remember 2020. And I hope you do too. And in 15 years, I hope that's the part of the story my children will be proud to read.